right now, let everybody know. We're recording.
All right, fantastic.
Exciting. It is.
Thank you so much, Julie. You didn't know that was going to be part of your responsibility.
Oh, it typically is if Max isn't around, but you know, Kate's learning, she's new, she's learning. We'll all be great. It'll all be wonderful.
Welcome, everybody. Let me see, participants. One. Let me see if Jen is here.
Jen said she was gonna be.
Oh,
Is
here,
that
I got it.
participant one? Just, do we have to let them in the room now?
Yeah, you hear there.
We might have to. We don't
No,
have,
she's, oh, that's just us.
that's us.
So Jen is not here. Okay. All
When
right.
she gets here, I will let her in, I promise.
Okay.
She's technically got 2 minutes.
And by the way, if anybody didn't know, that was the new town planner who's just in the room, and she'll be back in a second. We can do a formal introduction.
She saw that we were here and ran off.
She's already passed.
She's back.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Kate the guy. I'm the new. I'm the new planner for Waldeboro. Here, 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
We're glad to have you.
Yeah.
She comes from the Island Institute.
Fantastic.
And
Uh-huh.
one of her greatest assets is that she is a wonderful, how can I put this? She will do great as we approach how we handle downtown. She'll do amazing things with building bridges. She's a great bridge builder,
My background is in-
communicator,
My background is in community engagement and facilitation,
so.
Awesome.
so that's what I've been doing for the Island Institute for many, many years. So that's what I bring to MCOG, and I'm learning the planning piece, but I have the facilitation piece, community engagement piece down for you.
So as we move on with the downtown improvement plan, and the grant that we just received to make improvements to downtown, and once we start to have forums, I think Kate will really shine and bring all the different groups together and develop a great way to go forward.
Super, super important. So. that's
We're really
exciting.
excited.
Well, one thing I have to admit that I'm very excited about is that I'm assuming Will Pratt has put up the parking signs on the Worcester lot and the lot across from there. So
I think they're up.
they're up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm stating it, and it makes me very excited.
That's so
that
great.
We're starting with that, which actually came out of the forum that we had last year. Which is
So-
there actually was a reason that this followed on.
So Will started July 1st as the Director of Public Works.
Okay, so we're here. Looks like we have a quorum. You are no longer a voting member.
I'm aware. Here to cause trouble.
Trouble is welcome.
Good.
uh,
trouble.
We have maybe one adjustment to the agenda. I think it'd be worthwhile discussing ordinances, amendments to the ordinances, transparency around the communication of what's in ordinances, and the appeal process. I think it'd be worth having just a general discussion about that in light of a recent occurrence. We can get into that. We have no citizens. We do have a set of minutes from June 2nd to vote on. I hope everyone's had a chance to review those. It looks good to me. I don't really have any adjustments.
I have one.
You have one?
Very, very, very minor adjustment because it's the sort of thing that I do, which was a misspelling of Judy for July, July for Judy.
Which page is it on?
I'm trying to. I've completely missed it. So let's take it as read and move to be accepted.
Okay. All in favor?
here we go. Sorry,
Oh.
it's 8A.
So close.
Yes,
8A.
online survey form. Online survey for signs is out. July will move forward. Oh, no, July is correct.
Yeah, I
Yes.
wonder if she adjusted it.
In July, we will move forward with iterations.
Okay,
Perfect. Yes, okay.
all right. All in favor? Okay. Injured. Minutes down, chair report, I guess I would, the things that I want to say, I would want to kind of be part of this discussion about, the topic I just mentioned, so we can get into that in a minute. Normally at this stage, this is where Max gives his town, update so that we're all kind of on the same page. So I would just give you the floor to say what you want to say or ask questions of the group or update us on what you are working on.
Sure. This is my third week in Waldboro. I'm only here 2 days out of the week, so I am working on just familiarizing myself with the land use ordinances. And the processes for folks, engaging with land use ordinances, familiarizing myself with the downtown plan, and all the systems here. So that's sort of my focus, is just getting up to speed on all the things that Max did, because he did quite a lot.
Yeah.
So, and today it was grant reporting and just making sure that we're meeting the obligations that we have in the air. And answering questions. Each time somebody comes into my office, it's a new opportunity to learn something new. So learned about wellhead protections today.
Great. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Do you want any more update on some of the grants and things?
Yeah, that would be really useful to know.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we found out today that one of the grants that we had applied for, which was for cancer screening for our firefighters, was approved. That was discussed during our budget committee meetings, and that's very important. So we're really excited about that. Paving has begun on Old Augusta Road, which is the second half of paving. We paved one half last year. Now we're paving Old Augusta Road. Back Cove starts next week, and then after that, they'll move to, I believe, Mill is next. So Mill Street is going to be repaved, and they're going to repave the sidewalks also. So we are going to, because that's like a bad stretch right in there.
You're talking, sorry to interrupt, you're talking about on Mill Street?
On
or-
Mill Street,
Okay.
the sidewalks on Mill Street. So that's big. Elm Street construction is going to start. So Elm Street, which is right the road, if you're traveling towards Route 1, it's the road to the left, right after Mill Street. That's going to be totally closed. So a temporary road was put through a neighbor's property and around their pool onto Elm Street. So that's quite invasive. But so that culvert will be done. Full of a fishway and everything that's required by the DOT, the MDOT and the MDEP. One of the big projects that's coming up that is not ours, but people should be aware of, is there is a major culvert replacement just south of Mayo Road on Route 220 South, which means 220 South is going to be closed for an extended period of time. We are working, which means there's going to be a long detour for people living back over and down further Friendship Road and Friendship, Conrad. You're gonna have to probably go through Fintown Road.
Yeah.
DOT was also thinking about their contractor about doing that at the same time. We're like, no. You absolutely cannot do that, because the amount of time it adds for our emergency services is going to be a challenge. So we have yet again asked the MDOT if there is any possible way to keep even if it's a dirt road, for as long as possible, one lane open, not for the general public, but for emergency services. Because as we know, minutes can make the difference between life and death when you're having an emergency, a medical emergency. So that's a project that's coming. We need to keep on our radar. We asked them not to do it in the middle of August, so I'm hoping that when they finally give us the dates, it will not be the middle of August, our busiest time of the year. So that's one of those things that people should just be aware of. And the other thing is, as you all know, we got our downtown partnership grant, so I would anticipate in the fall to start to see meetings with the downtown business owners, downtown residents, and stakeholders in that area to really get a feel for what people are thinking and what they'd like to see, and that would include also the parking area behind the pharmacy. And, you know, start to really think about some of the redesign for that. So that's what we have.
How much was that grant for and what's the purpose of the grant?
So the downtown partnership was with MDOT. It's $420,000 total project. We received 50% of that as a grant and the town put in the other 50%. And that's for the traffic calming measures and other improvements to the downtown. So it should be a lot of fun. It'll be the speed tables were like the main focus of that. So speed tables on Main Street, some on Jefferson and some on Friendship to try to slow people down and slow them down, make them look around and then beautify the downtown area so that people will want to stop and.
We talked at one time about some new lamp posts and some, I mean, there are things like that could be considered in that grant.
I would have to check all the parameters of that, but I know that that was in our original downtown plan that has been on the shelf since 2011. So I will check to see exactly what it is. I think it was more for some beautification, but more for the traffic calming
And yeah, just so.
and pedestrian safety.
This is a limited grant that has really this single aim. This is not one of these long-term downtown partnership programs with multi-phase rollouts.
No, but it doesn't preclude us from going. So the whole goal of this, when Max and I applied for this and met with the DOT, was this is the first, in a way, it is a first phase.
Yeah.
But having this grant and being successful and
Mhm.
showing that we can do this grant, and one of the things that makes this unique is that our public works department can do a lot of this work.
Mm.
So it will save us money and we can do a lot more than if we hired a contractor.
Yeah.
So one of the great things about this is that if we can show that, hey, we can use the money, we can get it accomplished. And then build, so for the next grant that Kate applies for, we can hold this up and say, look how successful we were.
Mhm.
You know, our town is committed, and one of the things that makes a big difference in a lot of these grant applications is, does the town have any, are they putting money out? It's great to get 100% grants, but when you start doing 50% grants, it shows a lot of other grant funding agencies like, okay, they care and they're willing to put taxpayer money into it. That helps with your applications a
Yeah,
lot.
you have skin in the game. The
You have
town
skin-
cares about it.
The town cares
And
about
that's
it.
the community engagement part, to show people why, to show people some results so that people want to see more.
Right, and you know, I think that's what the thing that some people forget too is like, I know our budget committee meetings can be boring. I personally think it's the most wonderful time of the year, but our budget committee meetings, you know, that's really where you start to talk about what's important in the town. That budget, when you look at that budget document, that is telling you what's important to the town. So I wish more people would pay attention to that because, you know, that extra $210,000 that we put in there for that match showed a commitment from the select board and the budget committee that, hey, we want to do this. You
Yeah.
know, we're thinking about this. And it fit in with our master plan and comprehensive plan and all those fun things. But so everybody thinks the budget committee meetings are boring, but that's where all the really good stuff happens.
Speaking of, for the record, my neighbor who's in Friendship saw Fidium being installed and said, well, can I get Fidium? And I said, well, your town didn't do the matching grant. So at this juncture, I don't think so. So, okay, thank you for that. Before we get too much further into the weeds on other stuff, oh, go ahead, Ann.
I should have jumped in as an adjustment to the agenda, but I did want to report, I think this will be okay to put here under town updates. Last month, we had agreed that it made sense to send small floral arrangements from Shelley's to two of the new operating businesses. And I did so. She was awesome. They were delighted. And the folks at Zach's actually posted on Facebook
Oh,
that they
fantastic.
received it
I
from
saw it.
us. And so I think it seemed to generate some nice publicity for the town and for our welcoming stance toward new businesses.
We're indebted to you. Thank you so much.
Well,
It's
the
a
question
great
now
gesture.
is North Shore, North Wind.
North Country Windmills?
Yeah. Are they operational?
Their retail side,
Yeah,
not yet, but
Okay.
I'll
I'll
it's
keep
all
an eye on
underway. Yeah.
and then there's also Northeast Transport, which is, it's not a new business, but it's a business that's under new ownership now.
Right. And then there are a number of other things that are going to start shifting. We may see something new at the Four Corners. There's something will be going in next to the old cabinet makers spot. So
Okay,
keep
great,
your eyes open.
will do.
Okay, so I want to allot as much time as we need to talk about the next item. Cindy has joined us today to talk about
Hello.
the next phase of the sign design project.
And I emailed it to the town planner. Can you access and bring it up, or
Oh, can
should
we
I,
pull the PDF from your email on this computer?
send it to someone else?
If you can download it onto a
Drive. Do we
Drive.
have a drive?
There should be one in your
Is
office.
there an email?
I can also just go print.
There's
it
not
out.
an email on here that I'm aware of.
Or
I'm gonna go print out the copy.
is it better to print it, Cindy, or should I put my computer up at the head of the table? Or
I mean,
Because is
well, we have.
I'd
we
like
have-
to share screen if I can.
yeah,
That way everybody can see it. There should be one in your desk.
You have a computer, do you have access to the Dropbox and I can share your computer screen and pull that thing up that way?
can I share my computer screen with this system?
If you were logged on through Zoom,
Great. Maybe that's actually the simplest. way to
Max
do
always
it.
just plugs something in and
Yeah.
Mhm.
sorry, guys, I'm not back.
Can you say, how do I join this meeting? I actually don't know where the link to this is.
It's, if you go on the town webpage,
Yeah. Yes.
it connected, top right, it's stay connected.
And. Great. And so if you send it to me now. I can share my screen. Anyway,
There you are.
hold it, please. Mute this computer.
Looks like Kilroy was here. You just need
Yeah.
your hand poking up.
You should be able to share.
I am checking my email. Here we go. PDF in hand. Open and now video. Remind me, where's the share screen option?
It should be in,
There's a green button on the bottom of the.
yes, a lot of
Beautiful.
times.
Yeah.
Share my desktop. To go to privacy settings.
It's never easy, is it?
Well,
Okay,
normally
this
he
is
just
on.
has something you plug in.
I think I have.
People have been doing computers too long, they forget how much work went into doing a presentation. You had to make the boards, had to get copies,
Yeah,
stuff. Someone had to type everything out and.
you're gonna have to readmit me because I had to restart the program.
Okay,
Join.
there, you should be able to share.
Okay.
I think we're all set now.
No, I think we got it.
But if somebody wants a paper copy, that they can do that. Okay, I'm sharing my desktop.
Thank you, though.
I think technically you still won the race.
You
You
did.
did, yeah. Actually,
Except Julie doesn't have it up yet, so, you know.
Yeah, there he is. There it is.
okay.
The bandwidth of SneakerNet is very wide.
Well, oh. It would be great if that could be really full screen. I don't know how
It's coming.
you. Immersive. What's that?
Why?
Uh,
Oh.
no, it's not what we want. No, we want. Maybe you were on the right track. You just have to go to.
Maybe I can get rid of it. No. Let me try.
Sort gallery. Full screen at the bottom.
Of course it is. One place I haven't gotten yet. There you go.
Okay.
Ta-da.
Sweet.
This is the presentation.
And I'm minimizing you. There.
No, it's just the same cover.
There you are.
It's a different presentation. So. If you,
Does that little thing go away? That little.
I actually found out more about that sign. It was made by somebody and donated to the town.
Okay.
At no cost to the town. Someone made it and donated it.
well,
Many, many years ago. Yep.
Well, we should.
For a second.
It did. It had issues.
Okay.
Can't help itself.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
okay. If you page down.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted I have a few side adventures first to tell you about. I was driving on Route 295 North on a Friday evening. Not a smart move of mine, but I got the pleasure to see the town of Yarmouth's new sign because I had to get off 295 because traffic was at a standstill. And I thought, well, this is interesting and good timing. Their old sign is right there. So they also had, this historic presence, and they had some wayfinding below that we've talked about. So I thought that's interesting to look at. And then they had a full rebrand. If you scroll down, you can see their they have a badge and they have a sign. And then I just want you to tuck this into your mind as we look at the rest of the presentation to see when you have strong branding, how you can use it everywhere. So I also included a few Facebook posts they have that all have a very similar look. In some cases, they used the little flag with the Y on it. In some cases, they didn't, but it all hangs together. So when you're on social media, you immediately know, oh, this is my town, which is very cool. Pay attention. So I just thought that was interesting and worth thinking about as we look at the rest of this. And then before we move on, I compiled the community feedback on the voting of the 3 options. Did everyone get a chance to read it?
We did.
Did anyone not read it?
I'm afraid I did not.
Okay, that's fine. So concept 2, the more traditional with the peekaboo, was the most liked. It was way more preferred, like how much was it, like 80% or 90%? And the people had an opportunity to say why they liked it, and they said they liked the classic traditional look. and that it was historic and had maritime identity. They also cited the bright white background stood out against the natural landscape. It was perceived as welcoming and eye-catching. They like this simple, clean layout that maintained good legibility even at higher driving speeds. They talked about the shape, but the shape was placeholder, so they appreciated the New England style. Here's what they didn't like. Hard to see why while driving. Most agreed that changing landscapes would be unnoticeable at highway speeds, seen as distracting, potentially compromising safety, which we never want to do on a roadway. Reduces legibility of the town name, especially from a distance, unnecessary complication in an otherwise effective and traditional design. And they questioned about the visibility in low light and maintenance of a white surface. The suggestions were to remove landscape imagery from the O's, include only the town name and founding date, incorporate a 5-masted schooner or local history element, make any landscape imagery part of a background panel. And sorry, the rest is for the other signs, but so something to think about as we move forward. Next page. So this was what they voted on. This is a preferred, and then I have iterations, and the iterations kind of go from close to this to further away.
Mhm.
Okay. When I worked at LL Bean, we called it hop, skip, jump. But I like leapt and cartwheeled and, you know. I stylized this one a little more compared to the one they voted for, curving the welcome to and the date at the bottom. All right, next. And that's it in context. Everyone I show in context. I don't remember who suggested putting the panel behind, so it's like visually you could see the whole panel. Personally, I don't think this satisfies any of the concerns, but I wanted to capture it and give it that good team effort.
Mhm. Next.
And then in context. And then we get different. Okay. So, I thought, what if we take the imagery out of the O's? They like the maritime heritage. What if we add a little bit of a nod to the heritage? So it's still very New England traditional, which was liked. And then the art style and the typography style is a little nod to heritage. But instead of feeling old-fashioned, I was going for timeless. So classic, timeless styling. And
You
that,
got that.
ah,
You got that.
thank you. And so, and then going back to really early meetings, even early with Julie before I met with this group, you know, how do we encourage people to visit downtown, and why not put a call to action? Visit downtown. This is what we have to offer. You just have to go this far.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's real, how far it is. I didn't calculate it. But I
That's
thought,
like the one from the 1950s that we pulled up.
yeah,
That
Yeah.
it was like bare right. I
yeah,
think is what it
totally,
said. Yeah.
totally. Yeah, so, okay,
Next.
yeah.
If I'm getting this, are you planning the sign to put it up at the top of the hill as you go into Waldeboro? Are we doing the sign to replace the Waldeboro sign that's on the other side of town?
The location hasn't been decided yet. For right now, this is not my decision to make. I put it in a very visible location where there's a turnoff that made sense to me.
So once we settle on that, we can decide exactly where, whether it goes in the exact same spot as the other one, or take this opportunity to adjust the placement of it.
So could I ask a couple of questions too? So
Yeah.
you've got the village of Waldeboro?
Yeah, if you go back, I do. The village of Waldeboro welcomes you.
Shouldn't it be town of Waldeboro?
Yeah.
It
Julie?
can be town. I've heard it
So-
called a
so
village.
I guess I was thinking, like when she said that you want us you want to direct people to the village.
Ah,
So we are a town, but we have a village.
okay.
That's what I was thinking.
I really like the way finding information.
Oh,
I love that.
yay. There's
That is
more.
exactly, I think, what was envisioned.
Mm.
That's kind of
So
cool.
For quirkiness, you could use the hand for Monty Python.
that's funny. So actually, the discussion about village versus downtown versus wayfinding is really important, and it's great that you put this in here so that we can have this discussion.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we should keep moving through all of these options, but I would love to revisit that point about what do we call it? Do you have separate wayfinding, arrows that say, here's the town, here's the historic village. This in a way is killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
Because it's pointing you to the downtown village. So we can keep moving if we want to.
Looks real familiar, I know.
Mhm.
Just a little blue and a little filigree. And you can see it in context.
Strong contrast.
Yeah, so then the Waldeboro stands out even more compared to Visit Downtown.
Mhm.
So a clearer visual hierarchy there.
Yeah. Cool.
Can you see them side by side?
I can give you a PDF that looks like that. This was already 20 pages, so I was like, calm down, Cindy.
This is great. Also, I just love this wood carving
Yeah,
aspect. It really,
yeah, so that's the Madomic River, so.
it's a really nice element.
Ta-da,
Ooh,
right?
sans serif.
I know, she's pretty, right? I like this one
Can
too.
I ask a silly
Yeah.
question? Never mind, go ahead.
No, you
You're
can
probably gonna
ask.
answer, no, you're gonna answer it later. I love that too, and I love the second, like, is there a way to combine? They're just so cool.
A buffet,
A buffet.
yeah, maybe.
So here
The
without,
anchor could be a directional arrow.
the anchor could end up being an arrow in itself
Mhm.
of itself.
Yeah, so this is, keeping that maritime history alive, traditional New England. But then I thought if you click down, you'll see it in context, but then I have an option.
I like fish.
Yes.
But the fish
Oh,
are
nice is
cool,
good.
like, we could put that by the river, like in all the parks could have fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
That
can,
go to the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I thought
That's a
this
nice
was like
element.
a nice sort of, not a snapshot in time. This is past, present, and future.
And they're also pointing.
They are,
Um,
like they do.
big bubble shape.
And the fish is way easier to understand driving by
Mhm.
than a ship.
The impact of
It
this as a
doesn't
shape.
exist.
Was that Ann?
I thought one of the reasons we were revisiting the signs is that with the pictures of the five-masted schooners, people come into town and say, well, where's the ship? And sort of, there
Well,
hasn't
I
been
think
one for a while.
I know you're right. I know Audale Wives, they constantly have tourists asking to see it.
Mhm.
And I think having the slogan, the home of the five-masted schooner, makes people think, oh, this is a thing I can visit.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I remember your suggestion down at the Maritime Museum where they have the ghost ship. You could put a
Yeah.
hollow sculpture of the ship and say, oh, town landing.
I mean, that's a great idea, but we have to get that first.
Yeah, yeah.
In other words.
Yes.
Oh, no, we could make up a ghost story
Yeah.
and just have folklore.
they used to be pirates, right?
There you go,
Yeah,
you're
sure.
starting it already.
Yeah. So, okay, so right away I'm saying whether it's a ship or a fish, the outline of the sign is very distinctive.
It is,
This kind
yeah.
of bubbly shape is quite different.
Yeah, I used many different sign shapes, cartouches, in this. The first iteration, I know it was a little bit of a dog, but it was just a sketch. It's a fancy sketch, but just a sketch. So,
So you've got one post holding the sign up.
well, I don't know.
That's just,
I'm
yeah.
not a sign maker.
No.
They'd have to.
right, that's good.
You can do all kinds of cool materials things these days.
Right. Well, how many people will hang a sign between two granite posts, I
Right.
mean, there's a lot of.
Yeah,
I just love. how
repelling
well this
magnets that
stands out.
hover.
Oh, there we go. There's no question.
A high voltage. sign.
Okay,
Very nice.
next one.
Okay, maybe too historic, but I wanted to include it because still feels New England. It feels very welcoming. It's more stylized in that retro way. It has a very exciting W and O,
Mhm.
which I like.
Yeah,
So,
it's very literary. This
Yeah.
feels very like 1885. Maybe.
But you could have the same contrasting color if you wanted. You could use that dark blue.
you could, yeah.
Yeah. Well, see what this looks like in context. It really, the high contrast really pops against the green.
Yeah, and
Um,
you can have any color
Mhm.
in the world.
I like the shape better.
The shape of this, the two separate
Yeah,
shapes.
instead of the bubbles, the round was driving me nuts.
Yeah, so you have you have two separate elements that are kind of floating. It does make it look kind of light.
And that'll transition to other signs better too.
You mean just with the typeface? And
Yeah, not just the typeface, but the shape of the corners and stuff.
uh-huh. Could transfer to other signs.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's-
like the one on the bottom could be your road sign or directional sign.
Mhm. Okay,
The shape of it, you'd say theaters, you know.
right. It also is quite a distinct shape. You don't see often
It's a
this,
very distinct everything.
yeah, it's not even just a 45, the way that it has
Yeah.
this kind of double curve here is,
Yeah, it's like a
quite
piece of
distinct.
parchment, right?
yeah. Um,
But
Cool.
it's so funny how you can take the same elements and remix them and it's completely different. That's the same ship drawing, that's the same anchor,
Mhm.
different font, probably the same lines.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Same font at the top as the first one.
Okay, should we
Next.
go on?
Yes, please.
Ooh.
Okay, this one is, oh, okay, we won't talk about it.
It's like
It's a baseball team.
It does feel,
license plate.
it feels sporty, feels more.
It does, right?
Yeah. It feels,
Train station.
Yeah.
Underground.
Well, I do want to point something out to you that if you go to the first one
sure,
or the page before,
just a second.
so, all the other ones we had visuals that were very strong. These are more abstract. They're quiet waves and little,
You're talking about the,
yeah, yeah.
But people won't see it at 60 miles an hour.
And
Yes,
that
it's very
circular dot
subtle and
looks like a
subliminal.
screw.
this shape here.
I was thinking that was like,
It's a little captain's way, but yeah.
see,
I
at
still
first I
like the
thought it
blue.
was
I think the
the
blue is great.
compass north with the.
I thought it was a compass rose.
And
Compass.
Uh-huh.
all the yellow I thought would be gold, like a metallic gold.
That's very close to like how our town seal presents.
It is true, it's taking that and just
Taking
pulling it,
that
yeah, that's
element.
right. And having a gold, it's not called gold foil, but a metallic
Mhm.
gold is used quite a lot in the mid-coast.
It is,
So you
yeah.
connect to a lot of other towns, like Camden and Rockport have gold on their signs.
Yeah, like on the one before the sort of scroll edge could be gold. That'd be really pretty.
Our fire trucks and ambulances have a lot of gold.
And they have gold.
You might possibly make Warren mad if you had the 3 fish and made them raise gold, because that's their thing.
Yeah, there
Uh-huh.
is.
Okay, so that's this one. This is option 5. Option 6.
So very different. I added the longitude and latitude at the top.
That's a nice element.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So it's a rectangular sign, but because of the framing, that sort of filigree, it doesn't feel rectangular. And you do have, what's in town.
And this one is really just the abstract filigree. There are no specific icons in this one.
No,
The size of that, I actually say the impact of that is quite nice. I'm somewhat more partial to kind of a bigger impact sign. I'm thinking if we're doing it, we should go for it. Some people would feel that a smaller sign is more demure or polite.
well, yeah, you just don't want to be gaudy.
Right.
There's a fine balance between big and
Right,
too
so-
big. But yeah,
Okay, that's option 6. Option 7, okay, that's it.
That's it.
Just a big sign that says thank you, right?
Can you go through those again quick?
Absolutely, all right.
So quick.
Option, maybe let's go, maybe, do you want to see them in context or you want to see them alone? I can stop on each one sort of in context, maybe.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
Okay. So that was sort of the initial idea that was presented.
So one thing that I did like about this one,
Mhm.
I'm not a big fan of this one, but I like the idea of the photo, like the art and the pictures.
Hmm.
If they're gonna be double-sided, can't leaving maybe be, the backside could be that landscape?
That really has to be, the angle has to be just right.
Right, I
It has
just
to
wasn't
be-
sure if we were doing. Cause if you're leaving town, you can see where you've been,
Mhm.
Yeah,
kind of like, don't forget where you've been on the back of the, I don't know, it's just a thought.
I can't think of any signs off the top of my head that have explored that double-sided.
Oh,
option.
I've seen that. You
Around
know,
the-
Just
now,
a thought,
Yeah,
it's like the welcome, it's, then the verse says now leaving.
not
Yeah.
leaving, right?
Yeah.
but
Thanks for
it might
visiting.
get that
Right.
element that everybody liked of the artwork photo type
Mhm,
feel,
mhm.
but you're gonna get it on the reverse
On the
side.
reverse side, that's a great.
Most people won't see the back if they're looking, people driving that way will see it, you might be wanting.
It's about when you're, so like, if that's the welcome, it's when you're going back through, you'll see the backside of it,
Yeah.
that's all. That's
And if
just a
it's-
thought.
And it
Could
just
be a bad
depends on
thought.
the context, if it's large enough in its position so that as you're driving out on the other side of the road, you see the backside of it. That's,
Well, I kind of like it to have, in that case, a cow's head going through the middle of the L and then the cow's tail and we're seeing it on the side.
It's just a thought.
I
okay,
think
so
it's
that
cool
was
idea.
that was sort of the option that was presented to the public, and then. Oops, zoom out one more. Then we've got this one. This is option 2. The beautiful wood carving. Maybe I'll just stop on these, it's easier to grasp them right away. Option 2A is with blue. Option 3 is the kind of bubbly and sans serif.
And if you don't like if you guys like this, but you don't like the shape, that's easy to change.
I like the fish over the boat.
Hmm.
But question, why can't you have? For certain areas of town,
Now you're thinking,
like, so if we're gonna talk about like Elm Street, what, like where the park is, the little pocket park. Or the rest area where alewives can be seen, maybe have the 3 fish. On the sign, because you're gonna go with all the same colors, the same font. But you could have the different graphic.
totally.
Are you talking about on the gateway sign or
No, I'm
signs in
talking about
town?
secondary signs.
Oh, yeah,
So
totally.
like the gateway signs, you have to pick a theme, but maybe like the ship would be better. Down at Pine Street Landing where the ships were built.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you also have north and south, so if you want a ship on one and
Mhm.
fish on the other,
Oh, that's clever.
you could, probably.
That river though, that river, the wood carving ones.
it's really beautiful. It's a really great use of that.
Well, even if you had
That for downtown.
that carving, you could just keep the same illustrative style for secondary signs in town. And just put in a little circle and it would fit in with the look of the sign.
Yeah, I'm definitely responding very strongly to that. Timeless quality.
Yeah.
I like that too.
And then these icons being used as part of the frame. I mean, I do, this typeface is very easy to read. Okay, so then we have option 4, which is the more kind of, I guess, literary one with the scrolls. Maybe that's the wrong word. How would you describe it? What are we calling this one?
Option 4.
Historic?
Option 4.
I don't name them.
Okay, option 4. Option 5. And option 6. All right, immediate thoughts. 2. you're thinking you like two. Either with blue or,
I
Other
just
way.
think that. I think it gives, yeah, either one, two is really, I just think that it captures what people with the history, the river. But I think there's so many cool elements in all of them that we could use some of those elements in the other signs, so. But it's just, and I think that your five-masted schooner is amazing too.
yeah, it's pretty,
I think if we could emphasize the arrow on that,
yeah, going back to this one here.
yeah.
This.
But I love the two-part sign idea.
In fact, I almost want to steal, if we're going with the two-part sign, the spacing of this one is really cool. Having more of a gap between the top part and the bottom part is really visually impactful. Yeah, this one.
You can have a bigger gap.
I am wearing braces right now. I'm looking for bigger gaps.
Oh.
If we have two parts, you can always change the bottom part of the sign if something happens.
Yeah.
You need to change and that'll be a lot easier practically,
Yeah,
practical.
yeah, that's a very good point. And so if this is more or less the template, whether it's with a dark background or the inverse, for the gateway signs, is there a way that we could incorporate the ship or the fish? Or would you stick with the,
Well, could
Wood
you do
carving
the
thing.
five-masted schooner in the imagery? Cause you just got a single sailboat there. Could the-
it's so
Like up
pretty.
in the bigger section,
I mean,
well, it may not hurt it, it might look pretty cool, or if you don't like the word can go through it and you can have the front and back end, you can see that it's a schooner
Mhm.
type thing.
A good idea.
The schooner could be the arrow.
Schooner could be the arrow.
It's bowsprit being the
Yeah.
pointy part of the arrow.
I do think
Yeah, it's
people,
worth-
I do think people are somewhat attached to even though the schooners don't exist. But if you're saying it's just a schooner, but there's no home of, because we get the same thing, there's the schooner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Now, that said, okay, so what if this is the graphic style of the signage for the town? Cindy, you can easily see the secondary signs to follow can very readily incorporate these icons,
oh yeah.
Yep.
including additional ones where it
Oh,
makes
yeah.
sense, the buttons and whatever else we're
you
talking
could do a
about.
gold surround instead of, to try to
I'll tell you what else is nice
get
is
the color scheme.
if we're going to actually adopt this as our theme. With this number 2 with the round, it's very seal, like that,
It is,
that's
yeah.
like a seal.
Yeah,
Mm,
but it's so classy with that wood carving.
But we could use that as letterhead,
Uh-huh.
but we could use the seal. Our actual seal, that's our adopted seal, which is the five-masted schooner.
Mhm.
That could then be behind, it would look cool, like I'm just saying,
It could easily be adopted as part of this branding.
right, so if
The
we're
actual
branding the
seal.
town. We can incorporate that in our letterhead, so it's all what's on the website and everything.
Everything would be cohesive.
Mhm. Yeah,
Well, it's
Then we just
also,
gotta change the front.
part of the problem is like when you see the sign, it says home of the five-masted schooner on the existing sign. So I think that's what makes people think they're gonna look for and find.
Yeah,
that shit.
exactly.
That's exactly
So
it.
if you don't have home and
Oh,
side
right.
masted, they won't ask.
yeah,
But it'll still be there for people who think it's very important that it should
Right.
be there.
right.
That's
This is
great.
like extremely inviting and actually, yeah, I mean, well, let's talk about the village of and welcomes you. What does everybody think about this text?
I like the term village, something about that just makes it seem like a place I want to go to.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree with that too.
It's not
And-
something you'd see the first time you pass it by, but if you're parking at the in the parking lot there, if you
Right.
go by it for the umpteenth time or you're in traffic, it's something you will notice the village of.
You
So
could-
that to me is a sign that's not on either end, that's right where it is. Like, that's right where she put it, that's where that should be.
Uh-huh.
Or you could do it, you could have the sign further up and then have a secondary you know, almost the bottom part again as a sign at the park, at the ride share.
Are you- yeah, I mean,
So to me, it's like maybe 3 locations. You're gonna have one on each end of Waldeboro, one to probably at like the cigarette shopper,
Yeah,
and one to
At the
direct
ride
people
share.
downtown.
yeah.
the
Yeah.
nice thing about this, Alec isn't here, he would bring this up because he brings it up a lot, is that this is both accomplishing the welcome to the town, but also specifically wayfinding.
Yeah.
Turn off here to go downtown, because the other problem is when you start cluttering the street with signs, there's so many signs already, and in fact, you know, the WBA has their separate wayfinding sign right before that parking lot there, and that's gonna have to be incorporated into what, we can't have 15 different signs saying kind of the same thing.
Hmm.
Right.
But the downtown, I think designation is gonna be really important.
Huge. And I
I
think
like
this,
it
this does
a
a
lot.
really good job at identifying it. It's very clear that you have to turn here. I think, Jan, you made the point about the arrow being bigger, more prominent. If it were this one, or did somebody say that? Who said that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, when we first went through it, the arrow needs to be, if this is going to be this turn here sign,
Yeah,
then the arrow's got to be more prominent.
I mean, I would hate to mess up the proportions there, but, I see the point.
Yeah.
Use a fish.
Absolutely.
Yeah, use a fish.
You're pointy.
Why not use it?
The thing is,
Well,
if we
how
use,
about the much maligned clam.
if we use something that's not an arrow to point,
Yeah,
Right.
people won't know it's pointing, just
You're
because it's
probably right.
facing
Yeah,
a direction.
Like if you drove by that, you wouldn't really know, I gotta turn here. Would you? Or
I
would-
think it depends on how big it is,
Yeah,
like,
Yeah,
good, fair point.
I think if the arrow is larger, which admittedly might skew some of the proportions, but
Well, if it was introductory, they see it at the top of the hill and then you're going down the hill and you see visit downtown and another arrow.
That's what I
at
was
the
thinking,
roads.
right.
So it'll
If
direct.
it's a
them
secondary
further,
sign,
Yeah,
say turn here.
yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
the one I think it should be where they'd have that is right at the bottom of the hill, right opposite the town office, cause that takes you directly into the town and you start seeing the pretty buildings and then you're going right to downtown.
The turn off on
Yeah, at the
Jefferson.
top of the hill, it's a, you know, like any old road main, you know, just
Mhm.
trees and just a few houses popping up.
Mhm.
However, it is, a more abrupt way to get into the village. You don't see all of the stuff on Route 1 and then you turn in, you just go down the hill. So this is a bigger question of, are we trying to send visitors down the old Main Street or not, you know?
it certainly is a prettier view as you go down the main street.
they're gonna have a more pleasant drive and Route 1's gonna be a little less congested in that stretch.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think, I mean, there's no comparison taking Main Street through the village versus Route 1, but
Cindy, do you have any ideas about if we really want this to be very clearly serving a wayfinding purpose and sending people down to take a right there? Are there any other ways you would emphasize that you can think of? Apart from the existing arrow there,
Yeah, I mean, I can do different iterations to help
if we were,
visualize that. I'm you know, in novel writing, there's a plotter and a pantser. I'm a pantser, so I play and see what works
Mhm.
when I design.
Well, I respond very strongly to this one too.
The blue one, can
Yeah.
you go back to it? Just, I want to point out some differences. So the image in the center has that double rule around
Right.
instead of the welcoming message. And then the Waldeboro with the blue background, the hierarchy is stronger because of that. So I wanted to see if you guys have a preference between the two.
Feels more like there's like a mask and a strong contrast. This one sort of is lighter, but it's a little bit less impactful. just
Like
in
it
terms of
flows,
brand.
this one flows better,
Mhm.
but the other one is like
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
And you, on the other one, can you bold the town of Waldeboro? Like, make it like, well, it is pretty bold,
pretty
but
bold.
yeah.
It's,
I like the gold on this one, that's
Yeah, they're both. And I mean, I can send you a PDF where you can look at them side by side. Put it on your fridge, think on it.
I like villages welcoming me. so
I do
think
like a
would-
welcoming
I would
message
lean
as
toward
well.
This one.
I mean,
Simply because of that, but.
I would also just point out to the group that think about it in this context, not in isolation. Think about, in the winter, it's gonna be brown, red, trees, twigs. So there's also that, just the contrast of the sign itself to the woods behind it,
Or snow.
or snow
Yeah,
behind
dirty
it,
snowbanks.
or dirty snowbanks. Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't take long for them to dirty up.
Well, and it's funny because I have a white dog and everyone's like, do you lose him in the snow? And you don't. Like, snow looks very different than, this would look. This is actually a creamy white color that I chose just to that little nod to history.
Mhm.
Very subtle. But
Yeah, I mean, the contrast in the sign is really great, but I did also like the floatiness of the other one. It's very kind of light.
mhm.
Well, this is a really great.
Kind of demanding.
Wow, it's come a long ways.
Yeah,
It's like
it's very
heavier.
strong,
Yeah, hits you right in the face.
Very nice.
Waldeboro.
Yeah, so this is the stern, or not stern, but it's the more emphatic, yeah, version of this. This is a kind of,
See, I still like this.
I like looking at this one. The other one's not bad, but if I were picking between the two,
it's very,
something I'm not defining well, I like this better.
it's very
Yeah, great.
sophisticated immediately. It hits me as being very sophisticated. Also,
Timeless. I like that word.
Kind of classy.
Yeah.
you know?
We'd have to look and see what it is where they're split out a little bit, like the split like you want for the sign to be gapped.
yeah.
It might change the whole look of the sign if you increase the gap.
That's true. The other thing that sticks with you is the impact of the background is stronger
Mm.
on this one.
Yeah, because it's not held. Well, we talked about how Waldeboro couldn't be tamed
And this is a really
and
subtle way.
refrained.
It's a really
Yeah.
subtle way of indicating that it's kind of floating there behind the text.
Like the river is floating behind the text.
Mhm. And it's just a really sophisticated way of bringing in the landscape. It's not just like throwing a tree in there. It's an actual drawing of the Madamic. Are there any elements from the later iterations that people were drawn to? Yes. Well, we talked about the icon here,
For
but
me, that's something I have to think about. You
Yeah.
have to look at them and make notes.
okay. There was this one with fancy text, this one that's
That's a definite no for me.
heavier, and this one that has the geographical location. Cool. So next steps. We wrap this up. Anybody have thoughts about the timeline of this? Where do we go from here? How do we engage the public? And then how do we finalize the design and then send it out to be built? We have a meeting in August. Actually, Cindy, maybe if you have thoughts about how you would normally do this kind of project, how would you like to see
Well, if it were
this
just,
move forward
if it-
efficiently?
if you all agree on that one we've been talking about for the
Mhm.
last 15 minutes, then I would make iterations based on some of the questions that came up, increasing the gap, the visual hierarchy, making sure the arrow doesn't get lost. And then I would just email you
Mhm.
instead of meeting and discussing, because it's just kind of sort of narrowing down to, the little details of it.
Mhm.
You have to figure out how we want to mount it too with the final, well, it's not, instead of just on a pole. How's
Yeah.
it supposed to stand? Because that'll change the look of the sign too.
And in fact, the one that you pointed out, option 5, with the kind of fancier text and the big O and the big W, you used a bigger post in that one.
By accident.
Yeah, but I actually responded to that. I thought seeing a bigger post, even a central bigger post.
The only
actually-
reason I even put a post was because of the one that's separated, looked
Right.
weird without,
Yeah.
like they were hovering.
Yeah. I mean, the two most obvious, this is maybe a later discussion, but, you know, you can have two posts on either side, one in the middle, or it can be hung out and suspended from an arm, you know,
Yeah.
these are the most common ways of doing this.
Yeah, and the
Um,
sign maker would probably give recommendations based on what the material is, the size,
That's what I was thinking, was that once we had.
not my wheelhouse.
Did you have something to add?
Well, no, but I was thinking the 4x4s with the caps, like those are the traditional, see, no signs around here are
Yeah.
made of that. so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Respond to further iterations, and I can't wait to see these in the ground.
Okay, so do I email you? Who do I email? Everyone or you or? And if I send a PDF, are you guys feel comfortable commenting on it?
Yeah, I mean, we're such a
Be
small
happy
group
Great.
that should work.
You did an absolutely beautiful job.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a great night, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Okay, now, I have something. Are you gonna stick around? I want to show you this when we're done. Here, this is some, yes, you can keep it.
Thank you.
This is another project that I was doing. Let's quickly go over food pantry and
Oh.
then let's talk
Just-
about,
See if I got any updates today. No. Okay, well, we had food pantry today. You know, we continue to see, increased client count. We are, actually seeing impacts now of the federal budget cuts.
Okay.
And we're seeing that through Good Shepherd. And so we're seeing, less food being available to us for distribution. So that means we've had to up our, spend to, compensate for that. So basically, you know, trickle down economics. So, but you know, we're surviving. We continue to look for a new home. Max actually had a suggestion for a lot that he thought might be available, and I contacted the owner. It was on Mill Street, and the owner said he was not interested in selling, so. We actually have a visioning session this Friday, and so we'll certainly bring up the possibility of moving forward with the Madomic Park possibility.
The door was left wide open.
I personally really appreciate that. And I think that's such a great option, but
Mhm.
we have a board and we got to go through that.
Whatever like we said, it's the offer's always, the door's open. We are, you know, more than willing to chat anytime.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That's it.
Thanks. Okay, so maybe somebody else could quickly summarize the recent appeals board decision and the issue with Applecroft trying to open their farm stand and running into issues around interpretation of the ordinance because they wanted to use a former horse trailer that had been adapted to be used for a farm stand. I don't want this discussion to denigrate anybody who's working for the town. I simply want to guide it in terms of how do we make it easier to open businesses in Waldoboro, and how do we increase transparency of government ordinances so that people don't start to get the idea that we're wasting time and money, and actually, how do we avoid wasting time and money in dealing with these issues going forward?
So what I'm gonna say is there's a process.
Yeah.
People may not like how the process, the outcome of that process. But we have ordinances. We have a code enforcement officer that interprets them. If you don't like that interpretation, it goes to the appeals board. And then the appeals board hears it and they vote. If they don't like that outcome, a couple of things can happen. They can appeal that to the Superior Court. Or it's a good indicator that you should look at your ordinances. Before that meeting ever occurred, Kate and I met with her boss at MCOG. And I think it was number 2 on my list was, we need to look at these ordinances.
Yeah.
So I think there is a misconception. I think there's a misconception of how much time is spent with people prior to. I think one of the things that this exposed to me is that in everyone's zest to try to help people or applicants, there is a lot of hours at times spent with applicants. Now, these could be real applicants or wannabe applicants. We have a lot of looky-loos coming in. There's a lot of property for sale. What can we do? I think one thing that would make people understand the process better and also help the staff devote the proper amount of time is what we have coming in a lot are people, and they're spitballing ideas. So I have this property, here's what I want to do now, here's where I want to go, get me there. And that sounds great. But it's a conversation. And I imagine that in any conversation you have for 2 hours, people are going to take different parts of that away. And something sticks in their mind or something sticks in that person's mind. So what I think it showed, what we need to do is have some type of an application. So when somebody is coming in and saying, hey, I want to do this. Okay, put it on a plan. And I'm not saying go out and get plans, but take your survey, put where you want to have it. If there's something like a farm stand, a picture says 1,000 words. You know, have that picture, have that, the deep level of detail so that people aren't guessing what you're doing. If you want to phase your business plan, have that up front so we know. It's really hard, and I will say this, I sit next to the CEO, so I hear most of the conversations, and people have amazing ideas. But it's also on the applicant too, to take a look at those ordinances themselves. You just can't come in and expect, you know, in between a lot of things going on. I think a lot in this particular instance, I think a lot got lost in translation. And when you have bureaucracy, so you have different state agencies governing different parts of any business, and then you add a town into that layer. One state agency rules might disagree with another state agency's rules, which might disagree with the town rules and what takes precedence. So I think the one thing that we were trying to do, at least over the last many years, and I think it was one of the things that Max got overwhelmed with at times, and Kate and I had this discussion, was there has to be a process. So if somebody's coming in, we love having a casual conversation, but in the end, there has to be something tangible that we touch, that we can refer back to. And that's for not only the protection of the applicant, but the protection of the town employees who are offering the guidance and the advice.
Especially if there's turnover. That has caused issues in the past.
Especially if there is turnover, especially if, you know, and I said this to the applicant yesterday. There's three reasons people come into the town office, most town offices. One is to pay taxes, which they always are gonna think is too much. Two is, they have a problem that they want the town to fix. Or three, they're asking permission to do something on their property that they pay a lot of taxes on. And so, you know, we never get the happy people. We are never getting people who just wanna come in and say, I'm happy to see you, which we would love. And occasionally we do get people who come in and are just happy to see us, but I think that this particular circumstance shows that we need to work on that. And I think it also shows that to some extent, we have to hold the applicant a little bit more accountable so that when they are scheduled for an appeals board, perhaps having photos or pictures or a concept photo of what they were talking about, rather than just referring to it as this.
Yeah.
But I also think there's two sides. Would your people seem to be fine with a horse trailer? Would you be fine with a porta potty used as a farm stand?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Depends on if they painted a mural on it. I don't know. Yeah.
Right, so you know, it's really easy to second guess or Monday morning quarterback somebody's decision. But there's a process that is in place that says, yes, this person can make this decision. If you don't like it, here's where you go.
Mhm.
I think there's also a misconception of, you know, I don't want anybody to think that, and I think it's out there, and it's a shame it got to that point. You know, we're here to help. That's what our job is.
Mhm.
We do try really hard to do that. When it doesn't, or somebody is unhappy and they need to also feel very comfortable coming to me and saying, hey, I have a problem. This is my problem. And I'll try to resolve it. So just so everybody's aware, I'm trying to do all those things. But I think it did kind of definitely drive home the point that Kate and I were talking about last Thursday, before this meeting even happened, that the ordinance has to be looked at.
Yeah.
And, you know, hopefully there'll be an ordinance change coming up. I think there's some select board members who might recommend that the planning board take a look at some of the language. You know, there's many ways to look at it, and we have an amazing opportunity with the comprehensive plan coming up and a review of our comprehensive plan to really, you know, dial in on what does the future of Waldeboro look like, and then craft your land use ordinance to mimic essentially what your comprehensive plan says. And along that, it has to be, so that ordinance was written and has been amended as is for a very long time.
Right.
And I think what you're looking at is a complete overhaul of that ordinance. And I always say it should be something that, so just totally off base, but very relevant. When I started out my career, I was a land use administrator.
Mm.
That was like my first, other than just being a assistant clerk. That was my first true, like, ooh, let's get excited about this public service job. And where I came from in New Jersey, you know, I took courses in this at Rutgers and I got really into it, and it's pushing paper, but there's a reason you push the paper. And it is for that consistency. But you have to make it easy for people to understand and read. And I can tell you, I think I'm pretty good at reading ordinances, and our land use ordinance confuses the heck out of me.
Yeah.
You know, even the matrix confuses me.
Yep.
So I think that we need to, and that will be something that we focus on for sure.
So I think that's a great way to guide this discussion, not just in this meeting, but probably in meetings to come.
100%.
Because I think this is really in our wheelhouse to talk about the land use ordinance. This actually links to, you know, this work you did, Anne, on the website, is how do we show looky-loos a clear process so that they understand what's going on. My personal view on land ordinances, and it's not gonna be the same for everybody, is that they micromanage people. And there are reasons for things that have to do with public safety and have to do with aesthetics. Setbacks aren't just about safety, they're also about aesthetics. I think my view is that setbacks should be less, but that's a more specific thing. Why do we have to tell people exactly what they can do, what color, where, you know, I mean, we have less restrictive ordinances than other towns. Some towns will say every house has to have blue trim. And that could be looked at. But I would advocate for a searchable digital land use ordinance. That would be something that I would want to advocate for as a committee member. Something that I know other towns have had this, where you can very easily pull up, you know, like arrows, accordion style website sections so that you can easily unfold and fold up different parts of the ordinance, easily searchable, not a scanned thing.
Right.
So that's my view on what our committee can do to help this process move forward. Jan, and then Ann.
Just one other really quick comment. So I agree with everything you said. I think you're right on the money. And I agree that we got to look at the ordinances and have a better system. But so when I saw that, and I actually watched that appeals session. And the only thing, as a member of the Economic Development Committee, it just bothered me that it gave kind of an anti-business feel. For whatever reason, to me, it was like, you're trying to stop this little business. And that's kind of what kind of got me kind of riled a bit.
So I think,
But I understand what you're saying.
but I think part of that is, you know, and the appeals board, in defense of the appeals board, those are volunteers. You know, they volunteer just like you do.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, you know, everybody comes at these types of things with different views. I think Mark at the meeting himself said the ordinance needs work, you know. And that option of, you know, going before the planning board, making these suggestions, I know that was on Max's thing to do. It's just, sometimes people don't want to wait for that ordinance change, and you don't always know, you know. They could craft new language for that particular portion of the ordinance. It could go on November and people could vote it down because they could. But I think what you just said is very true. This is the Economic Development Committee. They're the appeals board, and they're asked to look at something. Does this fit into this bucket?
Yeah.
That's what they're asked to do. And they're like a quasi judicial board. So I think that's part of it. I will say too that, you know, we wouldn't need ordinances if neighbors could talk. You know, I say that all the time. You know, I am a less is more kind of girl, but I will tell you that 90% of what we deal with is neighbor on neighbor complaints. Well, that's probably high, probably 80%. You know, there's not a day that there is not somebody complaining about somebody doing something else on their neighbor's property.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and part of why I think the ordinances got so tight or get so tight in any town is that neighbor on neighbor conflict. It's easier to legislate it because otherwise it's just a constant battle. So I think that's how things evolve. Having another look at it though, and starting and saying, hey, let's do this is great. One of the things with the looky-loos, there is an inordinate amount of time spent doing what typically a realtor should do, to be honest with you. You know, we discussed at one point, Max and I had a conversation about, you know, maybe there should be, if, you know, people seem to think that we should go out and take pictures of their property for them. I mean, that's as crazy as it's gotten. Like, we should go out. we need you to go look at this. I want to buy this property, but you need to make a determination whether I could have a dock into the river or a wharf into the river. So, some of this is getting way beyond what, you're not a taxpayer asking us to do this or a resident. You're somebody who we might never ever see again.
Yeah.
So, those are the things we have to all weigh, and it's a great discussion, and I'm glad you're having it, but yeah, I can see where people felt like, oh, this is very not welcoming.
Right.
But at the same token, I think they are tasked with looking at something very, very specific.
Yeah, and then that goes back to the question of what is the tone of those ordinances? How specific or micromanaging are they? In this case, it's a question maybe of letter of the law versus spirit of the law. Is there a way that you can craft ordinance so that they give the spirit of the law? What is the purpose of this ordinance? It is to protect riverbanks from erosion, and everything that follows goes to the principle. There's a way of crafting ordinance language that spells out principles for each section. And then it makes the job of an appeals board person easier because they can point to the language and say, this is what it's supposed to be doing. This is what we're supposed to look at.
And the other night might have went totally different if we had more volunteers to sit on boards. I mean, I hate to say that, but we have 2 openings on our planning board. We have an opening on our appeals board. We have openings. We're still looking for people for the community, the Madomic River Community Park. So, trying to find that, and it would be great if we could get, a really wide reaching cross section of our community representative on those boards. And I'll use the Madomic River Community Park as an example. Is we're designing a park that children are going to play in, and no one on that committee has children.
Okay. Yeah.
We need to figure out how to get people to, come. And like I said, I may be I've been doing this a very long time. I'm starting my 40th, I think it's my 39th or 40th year in public service. I just want to say, being the tax assessor, tax collector, or code enforcement officer is
Hey, thankless.
not
job.
a thankless job
100%.
that you will never, you can never make everybody happy all the time, but you can learn from when they haven't been happy.
Mhm.
So that's important.
And Sonia, did you have a comment? Do you want to add to this?
I guess my question is, are we to go over the ordinance, flag things that confuse us and try to revise them, figure out a way to, or are we to do that and figure out how best to structure their appearance on the website? Or should we think about how do we take some steps to allow the looky-loos to answer some of their own questions, or to allow you folks to say, we realize it's all on the website. If you look under, I want to do X, and there's a frequently asked questions section.
Right.
So I'm curious as to, I certainly understand the importance and would be willing to help. I'm just not sure the degree to which my help is being requested.
It's a great question, and I can talk with Julie further about this, about how the EDC might play a role in this, especially with the comprehensive plan coming up.
Right, and the planning board, because in the end, it goes to the
It's
planning
the
board.
planning board, yeah.
But it might be good if you guys form your own little subcommittee to
Mhm.
work on something like that. And be able then to send one of your representatives to the planning board meetings when they're going over the land use ordinance, that would be extremely helpful. And when you get into the comprehensive plan, you're gonna have representatives from each committee.
Mhm.
That's a really great time. I don't think between now and November, there's gonna be a full going over of the land use plan, but if there are things, I know Mark has a list of questions, I know Max left a list, you're gonna have a list. Maybe those things that are immediate, we can at least address.
Okay.
And I think it's important for us to have,
And Sonia,
oh, I'm
go
sorry. go
ahead,
ahead.
Yeah.
No, well, I was on the planning board in South Thomaston, Maine.
Mhm.
Okay, so different things. So one of the most important things when someone's coming before you, there's the size of the project and what they want to do. A lot of people just wanted like, like they wanted a permit to put one was pretty controversial and it got everybody out, but it was like a gentleman wanted to open up a gravel pit that had been dormant. He already had DOT permission, because depending on the size and what's gonna be going on, you have to be aware of different agencies. The DOT looms large, what you're talking about, public access off a roadway. So like sometimes if you see properties for sale and it says DOT access granted, so if you're going on a main road, that's a big difference. But these people, if they want to open a business, there's permits and stuff, but it's the size and scope. The size of his gravel pit was small enough that he didn't have to have DOT or OSHA or any federal level permits or state permits. And it's basically one of those sand pits where you dig and you dig and bury, and it kind of goes elongated. If you ever wanted to see the end result of one, you go down Sandy Lane, which is off the Cushing Road, and you can see the remnants of it. You can see the grass grows back, the trees go back, but he was talking a very small item, but people came out, they were worried about, but you notify abutters and things, but I'm getting out of it, but if someone wants to open a farm stand, I don't know, I see people where they just have a simple object on the end of the road with the cooler and says $2 for eggs. But I don't know what these people were trying to do. On this ordinance, I wasn't aware of that, but like if it's a moving truck or if it's food stuff, you get involved with all kinds of things. It can be complicated.
So what I'm hearing is you're emphasizing what Julie said earlier, which is you get into the complications of different levels of
Right.
bureaucracy.
Right.
And then you kind of are powerless, but
So me, I would be, if you're gonna break it, you're gonna categorize it by type of business. Okay, and then I would start with what can be done without planning permission. What can you do on your property? That joke is you build the shed on your land for 99 square feet, you don't have to have a building
And
permit.
actually what you're saying makes me think that instead of having the matrix, another way of writing the land use ordinance, if it were in a really clean digital format, would be, can I do X? And it's like, yes, except if it's this, you need to click here to go to this agency.
So
Click
there
here
are
to go to this
companies-
agency, that will make it very
There's a
strict.
company called General Code, which I use my entire career in New Jersey, and they would prepare our code book every year. They give it legal review, and they would make all those great things that you see on websites and other places that have that ability to search and pull up different things. That's most of the time you're looking at coded systems or general code for those.
Okay,
So that we don't have to reinvent that wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah. main
That's there.
government
You just
has
need money
that.
to do it.
just need
That's-
money to, yeah,
Just need money to do it.
okay. Did you have something to add to this?
Just real quick, I think, the benefit of having the EDC having some input is that we can look at it from the business side versus somebody who's trying to narrow it, so it, trying to make it as black and white as they can, and maybe what we could do is add some shades in there for businesses.
Mhm.
You have to keep the scope to the town itself. Cause they need permission from the town. If they need a permit from the state, that's something they do with the state
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
And so,
Yep.
if you limit it, like when you have so many things you have to do and there's just giant things, you get overwhelmed. Pick a task, do this, and you step it out.
Yeah, okay, I think we got a wrap on that
Yep.
note.
Yep.
Thank you all, we'll see you in.
Oh, can I mention
August.
one quick thing?
Yes,
I'm
please
so
do.
sorry. I saw a post that there were sturgeon down by the town lane.
Yes, there was.
There are sturgeon
Oh.
on Long Cove and Pitcher's Cove outside my house.
So isn't that kind of big news or no? It's an
I
endangered
was told by
species.
somebody who's lived here their whole life and they thought it was really big news.
I think it's big news, but anyways,
Huh.
it'd be good to keep an eye on that because if sturgeon become a regular,
We can put them on the sign.
we could put them on this, we could take